Hi Jude.
Hi, how
You
are
all right?
you? Can you
I'm
hear
fine.
me?
I can hear you fine. Thank you very
Perfect.
much. I hope you don't mind my background.
No, not at all.
In a cave or something. What it is, I mean, it's just like a short Zoom, it'll only be about 10 minutes or so, and it's just a few questions. I was wondering, who was your inspiration for becoming a children's author, and when did you feel it was the right time to make a start?
Oh, that's a tough one because I've always written for children for years, and I was teaching. I did it, so it wasn't that I sort of made a conscious decision to wake up one day and go, "Oh, today I'm going to be a writer." Like a
Mhm.
lot of us, I suppose, I always felt I was one. I just didn't
Yeah,
have stuff in a book that people could buy. I suppose the authors that got me interested in reading when I was younger, which I suppose is what influences you as to whether you pick up a pen or not. Enid Blyton, definitely the famous five and the
yeah,
faraway trip for
yeah,
sure. They took me on adventures. But when I was a lot smaller than that, the Topsy and Tim books as well.
mhm,
I
yeah.
something about them I really enjoyed. And the Ladybird books. There was for me,
Oh,
they were just,
yeah, I remember those.
yeah,
Yeah, they were brilliant.
little pieces of magic. And they did a Ladybird exhibition last year, and I went to it. And it was just brilliant, and it brought back all those nostalgic memories. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
those kind of books osmosically they just get into your system, and I think if you're going to be creative or write, then they just stay with you. So
yeah.
I think they were probably the biggest influences. But then when I was once I became a teacher and I realized what reading constantly with the children, authors like Julia Donaldson, Mick Inkpen,
Yeah.
um all those kind of authors that really appeal to the picture book market, definitely. Yeah.
Um, Writing's a difficult career and it's quite a lonely one too. The highs and lows, which we all know of. Were you surrounded by encouraging people? Did you have one or two negative people?
I've always been very lucky. I've always been surrounded by encouraging people. My family have always been very, very encouraging. And actually, it was a head teacher I used to work with in London who was the one who sort of set me on the path of thinking about myself as an author rather than just a teacher who liked writing.
Yeah.
And he really encouraged me to sort of pursue that. And I now am surrounded by a group of people who are also fellow writers. And I think that's important if you can surround yourself in with fellow authors and fellow
Yeah.
writers. They know they know what it's like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And of course, you're always going to get negativity. Your books aren't going to be everybody's cup of tea, and you have to just accept that. And and sometimes that negativity comes from children who just say, "I don't like that book," and you have to just take that
Yeah.
on the chin and say,
Yeah.
"Okay, well that's fine. That's absolutely you just can't be
Exactly.
offended by that." You've got to say that's absolutely fine, but there will be a book that you will enjoy. I think as long as we always say, "My book's not for you," but there will be a book that's for you. Turn it around to make sure that people don't give up on reading.
Oh, definitely. Um, Here's a new question. If your life was being made into a movie, which actor do you think would be perfect to take the starring role and why?
Yeah, I was looking at this thinking, oh my gosh, who would I pick? And not that she looks like me, but I think Ruth Wilson is a brilliant actress. She's been in Luther and she was in His Dark Materials, and she's just a brilliantly versatile actress. And I think she would probably be able to convey the juggling plates life that I
Yeah.
lead, because I never know from one day to the next what I'm going to be doing. Today I've been out delivering Eurovision packs dressed in my build a book skirt. Tomorrow I've got an
Right.
admin day, so I'll be locked to the laptop.
Yeah.
Um, it's just different things. So I think she would be able to convey that kind of choppy change life really well.
Yeah. It's I've noticed that you've got Pirate Lammy, Salamalot, Lammy Goes Camping, Astronaut Lammy. Those are your adventures. Would you introduce new characters like you have done in Flogger with Flossie? I hope I pronounced that right.
Slogan.
Flogger with Flossie with Pip, Polly, Daisy, and Farmer Miller. Do you plan to write more adventures involving Flossie and Lammy?
Yeah, well, since I joined the Book Dragon, I did bring out the collection of Christmas stories. So that was obviously a very seasonal feel. So that was the latest book. But actually, I've got lots of ideas. In fact, funny enough, I entered a couple of stories into a competition just the other day. So I've got Tilly's tights. We've got a flamingo who runs a knitting shop in a zoo and makes tights for all the long-legged.
That's interesting, isn't it?
It lives in the zoo. And I've also got a book about a vegetarian T-Rex. a story. So they're not always about the lambs. I mean, I think, you know, the lambs will always be integral because they're part of my storytelling business, so they'll always be part of it. But I don't feel that I'm constrained to just write about Lamby and Flossie and the rest of the lambs. And sometimes, you know, they will have adventures with other people and other people who come along to their flock. Although sometimes they're quite sufficient as well. So yes, I never say never rule out anything, you know. So yeah, I've got no plans at the moment for another Lamby book as yet. But again, that might change.
And finally, I'd like to ask all of our authors this. What is your advice for aspiring authors out there?
Oh, read widely in the genre that you think you want to write. There's an awful lot of people, particularly who want to come and write picture books for children. I get so many people say, "Oh, I've always wanted to write a picture book for children." And when you dig a bit deeper, they've not read around the genre. They've got kids who think, "Well, it looks easy," and it's like, no, you've got to really understand the genre. You've got to understand the genre you're writing, and you've got to understand the audience who read that genre as well, because they have certain expectations of what stories will. Well, the format and the stories and the language and things like that. I mean, writing sci-fi is very, very different to writing romantic, you know, so you've got to understand your genre. So definitely read, get involved in groups, support writing groups and supportive groups that encourage you to share your writing with people in a safe, you know, but encouraging, but also who will guide you and say, well, that worked really well, but actually, if you could ask more detail, that would involve it. So I think definitely read and meet up with other people in a similar boat and join writing groups, I think are definite. I think, and the other thing is just to write something every day, whether it's a Facebook post.
Keep the momentum going.
Yeah, a Twitter post, half a paragraph, or actually set aside some time and say, right, I'm going to actually just pick a random writing prompt and go with it. I'm also in a writing group who we meet up once a month and we have a different theme that we write to each month, and that really helps as well to keep you focused. We all, some of us now, we get to the, like, you know, 4 o'clock on the day we're meant to be meeting, like in panic. So, but it's still a good way of making you, you know, just tune your brain.
Yeah, it removes a little bit of writer's block, doesn't it, when you're kind of bouncing ideas off other people, things like that.
Definitely.
Well, Jude, thank you very much for talking with the dragon.
Pleasure.
It was brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Have a nice day.
Say again?
I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.